Good
Good
morning
afternoon,
or
everybody. Thank
afternoon
you.
for
It's
most of you.
afternoon. Thank you for joining us for this wonderful presentation this afternoon. We are going to listen to Dr. T.L. Brink talk about students building bots using AI as equity leverage. And Dr. Brink comes to us from Crafton Hills College in California. And Dr. Brink, I see that you have worked 30 years at Crafton.
And
So
then some.
congratulations
And many years before that at other
at
institutions.
other institutions.
Oh, yes.
Well, I just want the people who are tuning in for this wonderful presentation to know that captions are available. You can get to them by clicking at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you click more, the option to turn them on or off is there. Also, this is being recorded. And Dr. Brink has put a link in the chat to his slides that are available, but we will have those and the recording available on the Peralta Equity Conference YouTube channel. And I will put the link to that channel in the chat for everyone here today. And if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. That's what we're here for. Let's talk. So, Dr. Brink, it's all yours.
Thank you. So I am T.L. Brink. I am at Crafton Hills College. We are in the little city of Yucaipa. We're about 100 miles due north of San Diego, about 70 miles due east of Los Angeles. So that's where we're located. And most people have never heard of Crafton Hills College, but I can say we are part of the San Bernardino Community College District. So that's who we are and where we are. And let me tell you briefly a little bit more about Crafton Hills College. We're one of the 119 community colleges in the state of California. We offer full transfer curricula into the 10 different University of California campuses and the 24 California State Universities campuses as well. As a matter of fact, our honors program has the highest transfer rate into UCLA in our region. So that's something we do quite well at. We are also transferring into private institutions. Many of our students will go to private institutions such as the University of Redlands, which is just down the hill, Loma Linda University, especially if they're going into a medical field, or CBU, California Baptist University, is also popular. We're also well known for our CTE programs. We train CNAs, LVNs, EMTs, paramedics, radiology technicians, firefighters, mobile intensive care nurses, and we're the only community college in California to offer a bachelor's degree in respiratory care. So we're very much committed to the medical field. Let me briefly tell you about my evolving policy about chatbots. And this is the policy I held through 2024. I would warn students about the limitations of AI. I would even have them look at some of the biographies that AI would write about me and all the errors that were in that biography. I would also tell the students about how AI was not really writing in the way that they would need to write as healthcare or human service professionals. I would also give my students guidelines for AI use. I would create little videos and say, if you're writing a discussion board post or a traditional essay, use AI to do this, but not for that, because it's really not going to do a good job. When I gave them projects to do, like a very long clinical case study or an empirical research project, I would say, AI can help you here, it can help you there, but don't rely upon it to do these things. There are other tools that are better. That's how I was using AI prior to about a year ago. Then I learned how to build my own chatbot. I used primarily the Nectir or the Playlab system. Our community college has licenses to use those. And the first thing I did was to develop an FAQ file for my classes. I teach entirely online asynchronously, and I've taught asynchronously online for 30 years. Yes, I did it since 1996. So I would have a large FAQ file. Now it became harder and harder as that file grew for the students to navigate around that file. So then I had a 10-minute video. What a lot of professors who teach on ground would say in the first day of class when you go through the syllabus and explain it to them. So I decided that was better. But then I said, let's build a chatbot. Now, if you teach online asynchronously, even if you teach in on ground, one of the most frustrating questions you try to get is when a student asks a question that you have answered before, and it's right in the syllabus, but they want to ask it again. And so you can say, read the syllabus, or you can answer again and take valuable class time. And of course, if you're teaching online, you've got to respond by email. So I found that a chatbot was very effective. I fed all the 100 pages of information that I used to construct my FAQ file into the chatbot, and the chatbot worked very well. I then tested the chatbot by having students post on our discussion board what question they asked the chatbot, what answer the chatbot gave. So all the other students could see it. And I could see what the chatbot was saying. 95% of the time, the chatbot gave the right answer, and I'd say, yep, that's right. Occasionally, the chatbot would not exactly have the information correct. And I would have to gently correct the chatbot and set the record straight. And then I could modify the chatbot so it would not make that error into the future. And then I got another idea. I could use the chatbot for more specific information. So I developed another chatbot to help students do specific projects. For example, in one class, I'd like them to do a long clinical case study. They have to select an appropriate subject and they have to cover certain things. Well, the chatbot can help with that. The other kind of project that other students in my research methods class have to do is a traditional questionnaire-based survey or something using medical records to develop a correlational study or even a randomized controlled trial in some way or another. So once again, the chatbot could guide them through that process. But then I got the idea, if I can build a chatbot, maybe my students could build a chatbot. Now, before I tried this, I said, okay, I better ask for permission. So I sent an email to my department head, to my dean, to the vice president of instruction, to the president of the college, and to our chancellor, saying what I was intending to do. And I gave them a chance to give some feedback or to say, definitely not, we can't do this yet. Nobody responded. So I took silence as permission. Now, after I accomplished this, the chancellor and the president of the college were all beaming with pride, said, we're going to make sure that we get some publicity out of this great innovation. So that's what I did. And I offered it to my students as one of several possible project options. They were not required to do this. Fortunately, only a few students took me up because this involves a great deal of work, a great deal of mentoring on my part. Let me focus now on one specific class where I have employed this. Psych 111, lifespan development. We go through every phase of the human life cycle. This course is required for psychology majors, but the majority of students in this class are not psychology majors or even sociology majors or child development majors. The majority of students taking this class are headed for a different career path. They are nursing majors. This is a required course in California for public and private BSN programs. So my students are in the BSN pipeline. But considering what our college is, what we actually do, most of the students in the nursing programs who take my online asynchronous course are returning students. They came to us for their EMT or their CNA, and now they've decided to go on for a career in nursing. But they're working, and they're working really difficult schedules out of fire departments, ambulance companies, hospitals. We even have some students at the state mental hospital for the criminally insane. So they've got extremely difficult work schedules. So they love the asynchronous program, but they've got some really great case studies to share in the discussion that we can build on. I have a major theme in this course that I like to build on. The theme of the course is life is not fair. So what are we going to do about it? And specifically in this course, I say there are social, economic, and healthcare inequities at every stage of the life cycle. If you would like to incorporate healthcare inequities as a major theme in your course, especially if it's a medical related course, I advise you to take a look at some of the materials on the American Medical Association website. About 3 or 4 years ago, they went very heavily into this, and they have fantastic materials to help you in this particular area. One of the skills I want to impart in all of my students is the ability to read articles in the Journal of the American Medical Association or nursing journals, social work journals, sociology and psychology journals, public health journals, and understand what is being said. Now, this theme fits my course perfectly because we go through every stage of the life cycle. Remember, most of my students want to be psychologists, counselors, teachers, social workers, and they need to see how those inequities are there. Life is not fair. And if you become a skilled healthcare or human service professional, you will have the ability to take on those inequities and correct some of the problems that are there. I'm also a very strong advocate of authentic assessment. We need to verify that students have mastered the specific skill sets that their future occupations will require. And the way we do this is we observe the student actually demonstrating those skill sets. Now, that's something that's very easy in most of our CTE programs. We look at the fire students and can they work the ladder? Can they work the hose? Can they work the respirating equipment that they're going to need, their oxygen supplies? Uh, can they rappel into a burning structure? We actually are in the hills, and we can actually bring them out on the hills and cut fire breaks. We can do all kinds of things to get authentic assessment of the student's ability. I'm a devotee of Lev Vygotsky's theory of child development and learning. We've got to provide scaffolding, modeling, encouragement, feedback to mentor what the students are doing. And after the student gains a certain degree of mastery, we can sort of relax a little bit and let the student do more. And that's what we're going to do when we help them build their chatbots. So the term project that I'm offering them is a little bit different than the term project that is usually given in college courses, where the term project deliverable is a long written document that no one else is going to ever read. And I'm doubting the authentic assessment value of this. If it's an article or a presentation the student might make for a professional journal or for a professional conference someday, well, that's a relevant deliverable. But the traditional paper, probably not. So what I want is for the student to view AI, especially chatbots, as one of many high-tech tools to be used in education, research, human services, and healthcare. My job is therefore to teach the student how to use this tool, to provide the guidelines. I want our students to master the 4 E's of using AI, to use AI effectively, to achieve legitimate goals, to use it efficiently, to save labor, not to give them more work to do, to use it ethically, not to violate individuals' own power, agency, that sort of thing, and to use it equitably, to make life a little bit more fair in their capacities. Use AI effectively, efficiently, ethically, and equitably. So this is what I promise students. I'm going to demonstrate how to use AI. I'm going to provide assignments designed to help them master AI. And I'm going to grade their assignments according to their mastery of AI. Well, let's get right to my examples of students developing their own AI chatbots. I'm going to give you 3. And in the link that I put in the chat box, you're going to go to a special page that summarizes the project that I give to the students. And it's going to have specific links to these 3 chatbots and some other things. I see a question from Jagrap Kalon. Let's have your question.
Pardon me, that was accidentally
Oh,
raised.
okay. Oh, that's all right. So let's go on here to so let me tell you a bit more about those 3 students. 2 of them were women. 2 were by immigrants to the United States. 2 were by disabled students. And all 3 students were students of color. Now that somewhat tracks with our enrollment. We're about 55% Hispanic. We're close to 60% women. We have a large number of disabled students as well. So once again, we have the link to that document I was talking about, and here is a QR code. But once again, this is also in the chat as well. I'll give this later as well. So in this project of developing a chatbot, there are 10 steps that I work with the student on. The first step, and this is going to appear in the first couple of weeks of the class. We have classes as short as 8 weeks. Most of our classes are 16 weeks, but I have a number that are as short as 8 weeks. First thing, the student gets the topic approved. It has to be a very specific topic relevant to the course. The next thing I have the student do is to come up with a list of questions that they would want this chatbot to answer. And the questions might be such things as where do I find resources for one thing or another? I encourage the students to come up with about 100 questions. And surprisingly, many of them do come up with several dozen. Then I have the student identify some real life people who are experts in the field. And I have the student actually interview these people and take copious notes. And then the student searches online and library type information and curate that information. What if it is really good? Okay, let's put all of this in one big document. Don't worry about whether or not it's organized. Don't worry about how exactly it tracks with each of the questions. Just get that information down there, like rough notes. That'll be adequate for the chatbot to work on. And let's see. Next, we are going to build the chatbot. This is something I can do very quickly using some of these platforms such as Nectir and AI, Playlab. You can also do this with some of the common commercial bots. They have a special version where you can build your own. I have not gone down that pathway because they tend to change very rapidly. And it's not always clear that you can share this chatbot with others. Whereas with Playlab and Nectar, you can share that with others very easily. So I've gone that way. After your chatbot is constructed, field test it. So I have my other students in the class say what they think with this chatbot. They try asking a few questions, they give me some feedback. Once again, if there's any problem with it, either in terms of the facts that the chatbot reiterates or the tone of the chatbot, we can fix it pretty readily. We revise the bot. Then I have the student create a very short promotion video, up to about 30 seconds. And there are actually some pretty good videos that they create as a result. So this would serve as promo. This could be put on YouTube, on TikTok, for people who might be interested in the video. The video gives information about how to get on the chatbot and use it. Then we field test both the bot and the video again and revise the bot and video again. Those are the 10 steps in our procedure. And let me tell you about those 3 projects. My first student, Vanya Gajon, is looking for a career in social work. She will be transferring to California State University into their bachelor's in social work program. She hopes later on to earn a master's in social work. Vanya lost her sight about 20 years ago. She's now in her 40s, and she's completely blind. And she wants to do social work with the visually impaired community. So her chatbot is about resources for the visually impaired in the Inland Empire. Inland Empire is a euphemism for the part of Southern California between LA and Palm Springs. San Bernardino and Riverside are the 2 largest cities. And by the way, it happens to be the poorest area in Southern California. Israel Jaquez had a very interesting chatbot. Now, Israel is in his 30s now. He came to us about 15 years ago, straight out of high school, and got an EMT. He later came back a year or so later for his paramedic. He came back a couple of years later to get his firefighter credential. He's been working with the Redlands Fire Department for about a dozen years. He suffered some injuries on the job, and he's decided that he'd like to move into the education field, but he loves the public safety work that he does as a paramedic and firefighter. He loves sharing this with young people, high school or even down to middle school. He would love to educate these young adults in the career possibilities. So he constructed a chat bot for middle schoolers and high schoolers about possible careers in the fire service and in emergency medicine. Like, how much do they make? What are the physical requirements? Is it dangerous? And just giving them a very realistic and thorough presentation so they can make good career selections and hopefully motivate some of them to come take our EMT or fire courses. Or if they decide that that's not the kind of career for them, maybe they could go into some other helping profession. Then we had Rowena Wyatt. Now she's also in her 40s, she spent a good 20 years in the hospitality industry. And then her children are getting older, and she decided to go back to school. She always wanted to be a nurse, specifically a labor and delivery room nurse. But as a foreign student, a returning student, a student who works full time, a mother of two teenagers, um, she decided that it was a hard time for her to sort of navigate all the different offices and agencies that we have here at the college. We're here to help students in a variety of ways, but it's sort of hard for the student to figure out, I go here for that and I go there for this other service. So we put together a list of services for the returning student. It's quite helpful. And a lot of our other offices are using and will perhaps build on Rowena's initial chatbot. So those are the kind of things that my students have been able to do. Once again, there's that QR code. So I'm TL Brink. I'm gonna tell you what I want to do. I would like to really make this a a workshop. So I want to see how many of you there are. I see some of the pictures here. I don't see how many there are. I'm wondering if you can drop something in the chat, if I would be able to see it, and then we can I see the chat? Okay.
Can you see it, sir?
No.
Okay. Well,
How
I
about if I stopped sharing my screen and we went on to your screen and then I could just see the chat more easily? Would that work?
what would you like them to do in the chat?
Actually, I'd like for the individuals to tell individuals who are attending to tell me what they are teaching, what kinds of projects they would like to see. Um, Maybe as a possible AI, we could sort of brainstorm that, or if they have any specific questions about what my students have done. But mostly, I know how easy it is for me, given what I teach, to come up with great ideas for chatbots. But I'm sure that we could come up with things that you teach.
So you want everyone to put their disciplines in the chat, basically.
That would be ideal, or
Okay,
something you would
go for it,
wonder.
people, and I will read them off.
Oh,
We have,
I can see the chat now.
you see
Okay.
it now? Okay, great.
Okay, so let's see. I see yours. Anybody else? Barbara Rodriguez. Discipline is English. Very good. Sociology. Okay, I can specifically talk about sociology, although psychology is my primary discipline. I'm a member of the American Sociological Association, and I attend meetings of the American Sociological Association, occasionally the Midwest Sociological Society and the Pacific Sociological Association. I made presentations at both of those. I think there's a great deal of application of what I do in terms of healthcare inequities like in the um, social welfare system, inequities in terms of the criminal justice system. And so inequity could be a large theme within most sociology classes as well. And I would say uh, some of the things that I've done in terms of talking about social services and opportunities for students, you could also do. So, Laura, is there some other kind of project you're having them do now, and you want to know if AI could somehow get them to do it better or a little bit more equitably?
Sure. I am actually, I just posted an assignment last night and now I'm wondering if I can go in and revise it to make this an option. So the course is Sociological Perspectives on Public Safety. And so the
Yeah.
students are being asked to reimagine public safety. So picking a particular institution. So yeah.
Well, AI would be perfect for just brainstorming that sort of thing. Another thing from a sociological perspective that I found AI very useful in my own research and also in my students' quantitative research. I found that sometimes I'm looking for archival data, demographic data, and I can just ask a chatbot, give me information such as the high school graduation rate per state. Arrange it in a table alphabetically by state. And it will do that. And I can download a CSV file. Now, I've got a large CSV file that I use for these demographic studies. And I've got maybe, 2 dozen variables. And so if a student ever wants to do research on a particular topic like autism diagnostic rates per state, so, let's correlate it with all these background demographic variables or these personality variables that have been found in the aggregate on different states. So it's a good way to give students quantitative data. Another great use I found is when you have them doing qualitative research, you can sort of give them a hint. And of course, there are other programs that probably do a better job in terms of qualitative analysis of text and of interviews and so forth. But AI has a great deal of possibility, or have two different chatbots analyze the same transcript and see what kind of inter-rater reliability we have there, and have them become aware of the limitations of the chatbot. But yeah, public safety is certainly a great topic, and AI can really help. The only thing we don't want them to do is to have AI just give an answer and have them pass it off as their own. So I always say, post the answer that AI gave you and tell me how you understand it. Let's see. Let's see, who else do we have here? Kara Stanley, STEM and instructional design. I think I heard your presentation, was it a couple days ago? Uh, are you the one from San Jose State? Okay, let's see. Yep, that's you. Okay. And so as I recall, you were doing things like with plants, and I think AI might be able to create some kind of tables as well, summarize some data that might not be too easily found in a textbook. And the student could get to work analyzing such data. That would be interesting. Let's see. Uh, ESOL, College of Alameda. Yeah, I've had a number of English learners in my class. I've actually taught in a foreign university in another language, so I can appreciate the difficulty of that. And of course, um, maybe give them some translation task and have them back translate from their own language into English and then back into their own language, and have them critique how well the English language, the chatbot, has handled things such as idioms and slang or specialized terminology like medical terminology.
That is a great idea. Thank you. And as a department, we're also kind of trying to figure out how digital divide comes into play here, because I know that some students even they were trying to understand how Google is used, and then ChatGPT came, or AI came on top of that. So it's kind of like, we are a little bit concerned if we are just like widening that digital gap now with AI, or is it just like gonna help? So it's kind of like a conversation we're having. But yeah, so thank you for your insights, though. Thank you.
You're absolutely correct about the digital divide. And the only solution I can see is how do we use AI and all of our tech tools to lift up the underserved rather than to impose artificial constraints on those who have the privilege of full service. And it's really that seems obvious to me, but in the medical case of healthcare inequities, we don't want to reduce the healthcare to those who enjoy full service healthcare right now. We want to lift up those who don't have it. A good example of that is in the city of Chicago, which I know very, very closely, having studied there and done an internship there. There is a difference of about 30 years in life expectancy between the West Englewood neighborhood, where life expectancy is 60, and the Streeterville neighborhood, where life expectancy is about 90. And of course, we can try to figure out why is that a difference? Is it a difference in ethnicity? Well, primarily in social economic class. But we don't want to have the people in Streeterville die sooner. We want the people in West Englewood to have a greater variety of health services to live better lives and longer lives as well. So, how do we help overcome the digital divide? By finding better tools, cheaper tools, more accessible tools that will help all of our students and the people served by our students work out better. Okay, Barbara Rodriguez discipline is English. Our faculty here at Craft Mills College is really trying to come up with great AI policies, and it's probably more of a challenge for English and math than it is for other disciplines because you want the student to actually learn the writing skills that AI appears to be competent in. So I'm glad I don't teach English or math. Obviously, I use English and math in what I teach. Um, I'd really be interested in hearing uh, from you, Dr. Rodriguez. What are you doing? Um, what challenges do you specifically face where you teach about how to employ AI without totally uh, obliviating any kind of requirement of writing for your students?
So thank you for that. And I have been more intentional about scaffolding. So
Yes.
I do embrace AI. So I do allow my students to use it as part of the process, but I'm intentional about when they use it as part of a scaffolding process. And I have incorporated a way for them having to reflect about how they use the AI tool to then allow me to see how they write as part of the reflection process as well. So, been more intentional about scaffolding.
Well, I salute you. And I think all of us who are teaching with AI, even those of us that were teaching against it, um, have found that our workload has increased since Chat GPT made its great debut. It is certainly more challenging, more frustrating about how we do find that appropriate response for students. And it does require scaffolding, just like good parenting does. And that takes time. Okay, let's see if somebody else here. We got the library people. Uh, can you show us can you show us how your students make these chatbots? Yeah, it's the 10 steps that I talked about. So what's essentially the student is building is a very long document. It's the particular document that I provided a link to. Each student, when a project is approved, gets a copy of that document with their name on it, their contact information on it, my contact information on it. And I encourage the students to meet with me on a weekly basis. Now, I'm speaking to you today from my physical office at Crafton Hills College. I make it into this office at least once a week. I usually spend all day here, and I do have physical office hours. Most of my students do not come on campus on a regular basis. Here in California, we have the California Virtual College. I have students mostly from the Inland Empire, but I get students from all over the state, and they can take this class free or the same cost as everybody else, regardless whether they live up in Humboldt or in Needles or down in Calexico. And most of my meetings with the students are done on the phone, not over Zoom like this. But what we usually do is we're on a phone. I use Google Voice, and I will call them when they sign up. And then we'll spend that half hour or so of time sharing the same document, like a Google Doc, a Google spreadsheet, a Google slide, and we will work on it together. So their their workspace is this document that may be several hundred pages long because they're finding, they're pasting, they're evaluating all of this material that they find on the web and their interviews of these experts. And then I simply take that document and I feed it into the Playlab system, and I say, make a chatbot. And it does. And it is really that simple. It's if you have a chance to get one of these systems, Nectir or Playlab. I went to a workshop at the online teaching conference last year in Long Beach. It's going to be in Anaheim this year, and I think it's in June. So uh, that was sufficient. So these 10 steps are really all you have to do. I advise you to start off making your own chat bots. Start off with an FAQ file. It's just very helpful for the students, and it really gives you an idea about how to interact with this chatbot. It's pretty easy. Okay, 5 minutes remaining. Other key questions that we can have.
We're actually down to 2 minutes remaining
Oh
now.
boy,
And
2 minutes.
that's
I
okay.
ran at 12:45. Boy, this is good. Well, that's good. I got a meeting at 1. Who else has another question? Well, I tell you what, let's keep in touch. You've got my email address there. Let me put that on again. Hopefully you can see that. And uh, feel free to contact me. I encourage people to go ahead, work with AI, uh, teach online. Uh, it can be very fulfilling if you have the right tools, very frustrating if you don't.
You are absolutely correct. Thank you, Dr. Brink. That was wonderful. I do want to encourage people to check out Playlab and Nectar. I was in the Nectar AI pilot project for 2 years. I'm now in the 3C Media Quicker pilot project, and both of them are great tools. Playlab is awesome. You can go through the training and you can start making bots, and they actually have a library full of bots that you can just grab and remix and reuse. I mean, people have made things already, accessibility bots,
Mhm.
things for figuring out which wine to select with dinner. I mean, just everything. So please check it out. Once again, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. Brink. That was really insightful. And everyone, I want to remind you that the slides are going to be available on our YouTube channel. Please check it out. Peralta Equity Conference. And that is all. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you.